Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nibiru channel. It is November 15th, 2016, and we wanted to update and clarify some information that we reported on yesterday pertaining to the New Zealand earthquake and tsunamis. So please, listen up. Hello everybody. We wanted to just clarify some information from yesterday, and it is in direct relation to one of our videos that was posted concerning the New Zealand earthquakes and tsunami. Now, I just want to clarify one thing because it has been brought to my attention by my arch nemesis, Mr. David Gregg, David DAZZA the Cameraman, and his YouTube debunking channel, that we purposely tried to deceive everyone in relation to the video that we posted pertaining to the tsunami and earthquakes in New Zealand. Now, unfortunately for ourselves here at the Nibiru channel, we were deceived by information that was sent in to us pertaining to specifically the tsunami. Now, in that 48-hour period when the earthquakes hit and all of the information was coming in, we do have a lot of subscribers in Australia and in New Zealand. And this video came in from someone, which I'm not going to divulge all of that information, but this email came in with many others with photographs and testimonials as to what was happening in New Zealand. And this email came in with this little bit of footage of a small tsunami wave rolling inland, and this video just happens to be from 2010, when an earthquake hit and a small tsunami came in. Now, apparently this video was uploaded to YouTube at some point in time, but it's very easy to copy and steal video footage from YouTube and basically make it like it's your own. This video came in stating that in the early morning hours, this small tsunami rolled inland, and this person captured the video footage himself. Now, I'd like to just show you something. In the course of our day, we receive thousands of emails, especially if something catastrophic happens. As you can clearly see here, in the last 48 hours, we've received 2,735 emails. Now, it's almost literally impossible in an emergency situation to try to verify a video that a possible subscriber or just an individual sends in and says, hey, I was in front of this small little tsunami wave, it was coming in, I videotaped it, here's the footage. Okay, no damage done. But apparently, Dave, DAZZA the Cameraman, seems to have my YouTube channel on his chopping block, because I must entertain him, and he is a so-called debunker. Now, this individual is in New Zealand and left all kinds of comments on my videos pertaining to the earthquakes in New Zealand, basically accusing me of being a fearmonger, not reporting the correct information, and then he unleashed all of his little YouTube trolls to come onto my channel and leave absolutely horrendous comments, and also a bunch of threats. And I'm not even going to waste my time or your time by going into that. But as you can clearly see, when you go to this individual's YouTube channel, all you see are my videos. Now, he did release 2 videos pertaining to the earthquakes in New Zealand, but as you can clearly see, all of the videos on this man's YouTube channel are all related to me over the last 60 days, maybe a little bit more, but that's all that this man does. He has no professional job whatsoever, because I've asked him before, what do you do for a living? And he stated that this is what he does for a living. He debunks videos on YouTube. Wow, Dave, that's one hell of a career that you have there. But since I've come on to his radar, that's all that he does, is debunks anything that has to do with Planet X, Nibiru, any type of video that I put out. He immediately jumps on the notification that he has set up and he immediately puts out these ridiculous videos. And he really doesn't have a big following. As you can see, 481 views. I mean, he had more views on his New Zealand earthquake, almost 10,000 views. I mean, but he really doesn't do any damage, but he is just absolutely ridiculous. He's like that little cancer that you can't get rid of with chemotherapy or radiation. So let's just play the little excerpt from my video. And again, this video was sent in to us from someone claiming to be from New Zealand, and they claimed that they videotaped this in the early morning hours. Now, yes, we did find out later on that this tsunami warning came out, and the tsunami kind of rolled in during the nighttime hours. It wasn't daylight yet, and we weren't aware of that. You know, we were working on an emergency situation trying to report this information. So let's listen to it. Let's listen to my fear-mongering. Now, we received more video. This video is down in Christchurch, New Zealand. You can clearly see the tsunami wave coming in. This area doesn't seem to be so devastated as in the prior video that we just watched. And like I said, if this tsunami was much larger, the catastrophic damage in New Zealand, not only from the magnitude 7.8 earthquake, but the tsunami could have been much, much worse. Wow, Dave, that's real fear-mongering. A little wave coming inland and a mistaken video probably emailed to our channel by one of your thugs to deceive us. And yeah, it worked, but you know what? It's no big deal, because the bigger deal is what happened to the people in New Zealand and the catastrophic damage, which this individual just completely downplayed and states, oh, this is a common occurrence. But the other videos that we put out, which were actual news reports with a seismologist stating that yes, this was a very catastrophic event. There was a lot of damage done to the island country of New Zealand. Thank God there wasn't loss of life other than the 2 individuals that were killed during the earthquake, excuse me. But any loss of life is catastrophic in my eyes. And what I do here at my channel is I investigate Planet X, Nibiru. This is what I do. I want to find out the absolute truth. And this man wants you to believe that there is absolutely no threat. But the evidence that comes out daily now is damning. And we're supposed to believe him while he debunks my videos. So he has my head on his chopping block. Well, that's fine, Dave. You go right ahead and you keep my head on your chopping block, because it doesn't matter. When the day of reckoning comes, you will have to face me, and you'll have to face your creator. And if you are working for the government and being well paid to debunk these videos, believe me, buddy, when it's all said and done, you're going to be the first one that they turn their back on, and you're going to be the first head in the guillotine. That much is a fact. Now, once again, you can clearly see that this man targets me on a daily basis, non-stop. Any videos that I put up, he is right there. And if we go and take a look at his channels, this is another one, Astronomy Live. This guy, once again, goes in, tries to debunk my videos, basically tells people a bunch of lies, and uses very thick terminology, and I'll use one of his phrases. He just produces a bunch of word salad, which means he wants you to accept all of his fancy words and his fancy mathematics as truth. Well, I don't fall for their game. But anyways, enough about these idiots. Let's move on. There was catastrophic damage in New Zealand. They are evacuating some people, locals, and tourists. And as you go down, and this is a current report, as you go down, this was heartbreaking. I'm an animal lover. These poor cows were literally left on a little plateau of land, and all of the land around them basically just disappeared. As we move further down, it's showing that the New Zealand rescuers are literally trying to evacuate people from certain areas. And it is heartbreaking. You know, the same applies for what happened in Italy. And as you see, huge landslides just pouring over coastal highways, coastal roadways. But yet, DAZZA, the cameraman, wants you to think that this really wasn't a catastrophic event. Yes, it's an earthquake. Oh yes, it's a natural event. And Scott over at the Nibiru channel is fear-mongering. Well, I don't consider something like this to be fear-mongering. We were reporting on a situation that occurred on this earth. And this is what we do. And one of our theories is, as this planetary system or planetary body gets closer to Earth, it's going to shake Earth up. It is going to pull on our tectonic plates. It is going to heat our inner core, which it already is. And listen, DAZZA the cameraman, there is so much evidence out there that has been produced 10, 15, 20 years ago, even 30 years ago. Okay? You're not going to sit here and tell me that these are just little natural events that are happening. Now, they got hit with 2 earthquakes simultaneously. The seismologist that was on our other report states that. They had 2 earthquakes, one moving up and down, the other moving side to side. And if you take a look at some of the damage that has occurred in the New Zealand area, it's pretty bad. Structural damage of roadways is just, it's pretty significant, folks. But anyways, I wanted you to listen to this New Zealand news report. Now, Dave also claims that I steal people's videos, but yet that's what he does. He steals videos, debunks them, makes fun of them, and claims this is fair use. Well, Dave, whenever I am letting my subscribers listen to a news report that has to do with a catastrophic event, it's fair use, buddy, you little Kiwi. Now, let's go ahead and get into this video and let's see what has happened in New Zealand, because this is going to ricochet across the earth, across the globe.
2 people are dead, thousands evacuated, and the scale of the damage is now emerging after a huge earthquake shook New Zealand overnight. The magnitude 7.5 quake hit while most people were asleep, rattling Christchurch and the capital Wellington. Its epicentre was in the sea, around 90 kilometres north of Christchurch. Residents were forced to leave their homes and move to higher ground as tsunami warnings sounded.
So far, 2 people have been confirmed to be killed, but authorities are still assessing the damage across the country. The worst hit area appears to be Kaikoura, north of Christchurch, with communications to that area still cut.
Let's go straight now to TVNZ reporter Rebecca Wright, who joins us from Auckland. And Rebecca, obviously now well into daylight hours. What is the latest?
Well, we're beginning to see quite a lot of pictures emerging, Ali, of the destruction in the region of Kaikoura that you've described. I've seen now some pictures of major state highways and roads sort of buckled, big fissures which just cut straight across them, meaning that there will be many people right now who are cut off. Some of your viewers may have been to the region. It's very, very popular with tourists. People go whale watching there, and it is quite spectacular. You have these mountains which go straight down to the sea, and at the bottom of that there is a state highway which wraps around it going north. I've seen pictures of a massive slip which has blocked that road and cut off the railway tunnels as well. So it's going to be quite a lot of work to get that cleared and then to try and get people in there from the north. We do know that an urban search and rescue team has now arrived into Kaikoura and they are on the ground assessing the damage there. We also know that 2 people have died. The Prime Minister gave an update on that this morning. Here's what he had to say from the Civil Defence bunker.
In terms of the areas that are most affected, that's clearly on the east coast around that sort of Kaikoura area and inland around Colville and the likes. We've had very limited communications there because that's been cut off. Sadly, on the best information we have, there have been 2 fatalities. At this point, we're unable to give you precise information of what caused those fatalities.
New Zealand Prime Minister John Key there. Rebecca, I guess on the positive side, that tsunami warning has been lifted and people on the east coast have been able to start returning to their homes?
That's right, Ali. The tsunami warning has been lifted and downgraded to a marine and beach threat. Now, what we're beginning to see, so you know, the tens of thousands of people along that east coast, as you say, can go back home, and they're beginning to see the damage caused by the earthquake when they do that. We're also beginning to see some images out of Wellington, which is the capital city here, and apartment buildings that have been hit. Those sort of the contents of the cupboards emptied onto the floor, for example. So the cleanup will be beginning for quite a few residents too. Going back down to the South Island where the earthquake occurred, and we know now that those military medical teams are getting right into those remote rural areas where there's not a lot of information coming back the other way yet, but comms will be set up in the next few hours, and that'll be able to give us some greater visibility, I suppose, of the damage that they've experienced down there.
I'm guessing, given that there were actually a whole series of aftershocks as well as this big earthquake, people must be feeling fairly jittery, fairly nervous, even as they are allowed back in their homes.
That's right. The aftershocks, it's worth remembering, I think the last one was a 5.9. These are significant earthquakes on their own, and they come, you know, in the aftermath, obviously, of this big quake, which would have really rattled people. The people of the South Island, us as Kiwis, we're kind of used to earthquakes now, but you never get rid of the anxiety around them. These are huge events. It's lucky, I suppose, that this one happened in the middle of the night when people were in their homes and not out in the streets, as we saw with some of those Christchurch quakes and the death toll when people were at work. But yes, it is a time of high anxiety, not just for the people who are in those areas, but for family members stretched right across the country. Communications are still down. I mentioned before that I'm still trying to get hold of my 95-year-old granddad. Well, I haven't got hold of him yet, but it's that kind of thing, establishing contact later throughout the day, which will really ease people's stress levels around this event.
Oh, of course, Rebecca, and we wish you very well, and hope that you do manage to establish contact shortly as those search and, those rescue workers really move into that area. Thank you very much.
Well, there you go, folks. There was a New Zealand television station giving you an update on the damage there in New Zealand, and just wanted to go ahead and take a look at what's actually going on right now as far as earthquakes across our globe. And we can go ahead and we could pan right over here to the little island nation, the little Kiwi nation where DAZZA the cameraman is supposedly stationed. And they're still getting hit with some aftershocks that are well over a magnitude 5. Just in the past 7 days, they've had 64 earthquakes, 15 earthquakes as of today. Oh, but yes, this is just a natural occurrence. Scott at the Nibiru channel is just fear-mongering for clicks and views. Well, it seems that when Dave, DAZZA the cameraman, does his videos, they are all monetized, and he even takes donations through PayPal because he doesn't have a real job. See, this is what he does for a living, and he's obviously paid by the government as a disinformationalist because they don't want you to know what's going on. Even the USGS has downplayed the magnitude of earthquakes. They are not even reporting earthquakes that are occurring in the northwest part of the United States, Oregon and Washington, right near the Cascadian Plate. You ever wonder why? Why would they do something like that? Well, it's Dave's job to debunk this, make fun of it, make you believe it's not happening. And just while we are on the subject, I want to show you folks something else. And this YouTube channel is the leading henchman, WTF Sky. And this individual is directly involved with DAZZA the cameraman. And you see who the top related channel is there? My channel. Okay, and this is what this individual does. Goes and makes absolutely ridiculous, childish videos about anyone who researches or investigates Planet X Nibiru. My buddy over in the UK, Matt Rogers, does a fantastic job investigating Planet X and Nibiru, specifically for his countrymen. And look what she does. She goes and makes a disgusting, ridiculous, adolescent video referring to Matt as Mr. Rogers. Literally wastes time doing this, and the views, once again, they're minuscule, 378. I mean, this is just ridiculous. She targets Steve Olson, she targets me, and she targets a few others, but it's mainly me and Steve Olson. And this individual, as you can clearly see on her YouTube channel, does nothing but target people. Now, Mr. Marshall Masters has come out with a few new videos updating some information on Planet X. She's targeting him. But at one time, she was helping out at WSO, but only to infiltrate that YouTube channel and then wreak havoc on it. So this is what these people are paid to do, and I want you to clearly understand that. This is a major problem. They're not going to stop because this is what they're paid to do. They are paid to create doubt in your mind. Now, they have targeted me time and time again. They can call me all the names that they want. They could dig into my past, put my pictures up on their YouTube channels, show photographs of, you know, my house from Google Skies or whatever the hell that's called. I don't care. The bottom line is, my investigation, my research will continue. So, Davy Boy, the little kiwi fruitcake down there in New Zealand, I personally don't think he's in New Zealand. I think he's here in the United States. Because I've asked Dave several times in conversations, what time is it there, Dave? And he doesn't even know. He has to look it up. He fumbles and stumbles and mumbles till he figures out what the time is in New Zealand. Dave's a smart guy, but he's not that smart. So anyways, folks, the catastrophic damage in New Zealand is real. We're not fear-mongering. We're reporting on something that we believe is directly involved with Planet X. Our Earth is being shaken like a rattle. And if you don't believe that, start doing your own investigations. Start digging up the information. It's there. You just have to find it. And we're here to help you find it. Now, if you want to listen to DAZZA the cameraman and his ridiculous, retarded debunking, well, then become one of his subscribers. Listen to what he has to say. And in the very near future, when we are under the direct threat of this celestial body, that man and that YouTube channel and that information that you're listening to, well, I'll be blunt with you. It's probably going to get you killed. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. He doesn't want you to be prepared. He wants you to just go on with your daily life, with your face stuck in your cell phone and not paying attention to anything going on in the world. That's his job. That's what he's paid to do. And he's been at this for several years. So I don't know how he can possibly survive financially by debunking YouTube videos. Because he doesn't get the views, so he's not making that much money from YouTube. But his little PayPal account has already been uncovered as to that's the way that the governments pay you. And Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, and the United States are all involved in this misinformation. They don't want you to know what's happening because they would lose control. And when they lose control, we outnumber them. Don't ever forget that. They may have big futuristic weapons, but when it comes down to it, we outnumber them. Humanity outnumbers them. And yes, we can take over, but it's not about that. It's about survival. It's about being human. Bottom line, you can believe what you want to believe. But if I were you, you can listen to the information that my channel provides because we do the best that we can. We're not scientists. We're not astronomers. We're not amateur astronomers. Because the bottom line is, science makes mistakes. Astronomers make mistakes. They're all funded in order to do their work. So why would they go against the government and then lose their funding? It's all about the almighty dollar, the money. But in the end, they're all going to be screwed too. I spoke with a gentleman yesterday who has friends that were deeply involved in the construction here in the United States of these bunkers and these underground tunnels for the past 20 years. Yeah, they made hundreds of thousands of dollars preparing the government for this type of event, but in the end, they're going to be left out to die. They want to have a major depopulation. Why? Because it will be easier to control the numbers of people that are going to be scared, injured, hungry, needing medical attention. They don't want to deal with us. As they say where I come from, they just want to off you. And they want to come back out when it's all over. And they want to institute their new world order. And poor DAZZA, the cameraman down there in the little Kiwi country, he thinks that he's part of the elite. But he's nothing but cancer. He's a pimple on my butt. And I'm about to pop it. Thanks for listening. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nibiru channel. It is November 15th, 2016, and we wanted to update and clarify some information that we reported on yesterday pertaining to the New Zealand earthquake and tsunamis. So please, listen up. Hello everybody. We wanted to just clarify some information from yesterday, and it is in direct relation to one of our videos that was posted concerning the New Zealand earthquakes and tsunami. Now, I just want to clarify one thing because it has been brought to my attention by my arch nemesis, Mr. David Gregg, David DAZZA, the cameraman, and his YouTube debunking channel, that we purposely tried to deceive everyone in relation to the video that we posted pertaining to the tsunami and earthquakes in New Zealand. Now, unfortunately for ourselves here at the Nibiru channel, we were deceived by information that was sent in to us pertaining to specifically the tsunami. Now, in that 48-hour period when the earthquakes hit and all of the information was coming in, we do have a lot of subscribers in Australia and in New Zealand. And this video came in from someone, which I'm not going to divulge all of that information, but this email came in with many others with photographs and testimonials as to what was happening in New Zealand. And this email came in with this little bit of footage of a small tsunami wave rolling inland, and this video just happens to be from 2010 when an earthquake hit and a small tsunami came in. Now, apparently this video was uploaded to YouTube at some point in time, but it's very easy to copy and steal video footage from YouTube and basically make it like it's your own. This video came in stating that in the early morning hours, this small tsunami rolled inland, and this person captured the video footage himself. Now, I'd like to just show you something. In the course of our day, we receive thousands of emails, especially if something catastrophic happens. As you can clearly see here, in the last 48 hours, we've received 2,735 emails. Now, it's almost literally impossible in an emergency situation to try to verify a video that a possible subscriber or just an individual sends in and says, hey, I was in front of this small little tsunami wave, it was coming in, I videotaped it, here's the footage. Okay, no damage done. But apparently, Dave, DAZZA the cameraman, seems to have my YouTube channel on his chopping block, because I must entertain him and he is a so-called debunker. Now, this individual is in New Zealand and left all kinds of comments on my videos pertaining to the earthquakes in New Zealand, basically accusing me of being a fearmonger, not reporting the correct information, and then